What's up, guys? It's Eric. I'm back again. I got the bong.
Pick up and then we'll go.
We'll never surrender.
Skin boots on a Saturday night.
Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome back to an all new Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies video. Today we have a ton of leaked information for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 ranging from the campaign through to the multiplayer through to the zombie side of things too. So this is going to be a follow-up video to my last video in which I made, which will be linked down in this video's description, where we broke down a video by Eric Maynard. As I said, that will be linked down in this video's description. Now if you do go on to enjoy this video, by the end of it, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and go for 1,115 likes on today's video as well. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future upload here on the channel. Don't forget to turn notifications on to ensure furthermore that you never miss an upload. But with that all out of the way, let's get straight on in to the video. So the video in which we're going to be breaking down today, as he said, has been posted by a channel known as the WWII Lads, created by Eric. Now if you didn't watch my last video, I need to refresh you guys on who Eric is. Essentially, he does have a ton of connections within the community and he's a very trustworthy guy. However, he knows to keep his mouth shut when he shouldn't talk on certain things. Now by keeping his mouth shut, he often presents information to the community in very cryptic ways and ways that the overall community just won't latch onto. Now he did provide me with the World War II Zombies leak, which was that it would feature a second bonus map after completing the Easter egg on the Final Reich, which was obviously the house map, Groston House. And he's been providing me information for over a year and a half and he's very trustworthy, so he posted this video on his channel. Now essentially he goes over a ton of, as he claims, WWE leaks.
I have got some wrestling leaks. If you guys like WWE, I've got some leaks for that.
However, this is his cryptic way of presenting us with Black Ops 4 leaked information without him directly saying that it's information in regards to Black Ops 4, so he doesn't get into any trouble and we can simply infer from the information that he has descripted. So I've gone through this entire video that he has posted, his follow-up video to the last video, and I've broken it down piece by piece and tried to infer as much as I can from this video. Now obviously, in knowing who Eric is, I think that I'm able to make a fairly good assumption of the cryptic teasers that he is indeed making, but obviously I'm not going to be 100% accurate because this is just what I think he is inferring. I could be wrong on some levels since I am simply making inferences. Alright, so I'm going to start it off right now and play a clip from the video and then talk a little bit about it.
WWE has been looking to get some revitalization to the brand. Like, it's just been kind of dead lately. Like, the people who are always there are still kind of always there, but even they are starting to dwindle away and they're not doing good at pulling in the normal people anymore, you know, the everyday guys who aren't crazy WWE fans.
Alright, so first of all, he talks about brand revitalization. Now, I believe from inferring from this that this is in regards to Activision wanting to bring Call of Duty back to the good old days. Like, it needs something new or some kind of big nostalgia factor in order for it to start generating big money again.
So what they're doing right now is they planned on, it would have been April 30th that he would have come back, but I don't think he's going to because some shit happened. And basically, he just couldn't handle what was going on in the world around him, you know, and he just decided that it probably wasn't the most appropriate time for him to come back. And so, because originally, like, he's known for, they're like a wrestling family, like a wrestling trilogy, basically. There was the oldest guy, you know, the dad of the guy I'm talking about. He was the original, but he already came back. So basically, this oldest wrestler, he came back, but they kind of changed his gimmick up a little bit for the modern day. They tried to make it more merchandisable, I guess is a good word. They tried to make more money off of him, essentially, and it just didn't work out for him. So they ruined his gimmick and people really weren't as fired up about his comeback as they thought they were going to be. So next year they got his son, like I said, coming back, the guy I'm talking about. He's supposed to come back next year. He had a son too. Now his son never did really go over well. People were kind of burnt out on the family as a whole by the time he came out. His gimmicks just weren't as interesting. Neither was his matches, just not as interesting in general. So people didn't really go over well with him, but he's also supposed to make a comeback next year. Or what I would really suspect is the reason they're really doing this is because the youngest guy, his son, is now old enough to wrestle and they want to bring him back. And they thought, you know, bringing the name back back would be a good way again to get people back, get some nostalgia money.
Now he goes on to then talk about wrestlers. Now I believe that this is in reference to the Modern Warfare series. In specific, he talks about Modern Warfare 2 being campaign only for sure by the fact that he says that the second guy is going solo only, and obviously the campaign is single player only.
As a solo person out of a stable, he did okay, but they're not bringing any of the other members of the stable back. It'll be just him.
And he also says that it'll be this year, with Modern Warfare 3 Remastered coming next year, so that the entire community will all be caught up on the Modern Warfare trilogy storyline by the time that Modern Warfare releases in 2019. Now obviously the original release date that was listed by the official Amazon account on the Italian version of Amazon was supposedly going to release on April the 30th. Now I believe from what I've been hearing that this release date has actually been changed due to the recent Parkland shootings, and obviously Modern Warfare 2's campaign features the No Russian mission in which we shoot down a bunch of innocent civilians within an airport. So obviously due to that controversial factor with this recent tragic event, that is why the release date has been pushed back, I would assume. Now he then goes on to talk about merchandise in regards to WWE. Now I believe that this is in reference to them ruining Modern Warfare 1 Remastered Call of Duty 4 with supply drops, and they're going to bomb Modern Warfare 2 Remastered with campaign only. Now I believe from inferring here that this is because Activision are under contract by PlayStation to release the entire Modern Warfare trilogy storyline so that we're all caught up by Modern Warfare 4, and because of this they are rushing them out because they are under contract. That is why the multiplayers are not getting finished. Now he implies that it is Sony that has this contract, and Sony is the reason for them making these remasters by him saying there are a few different shows, but Vince premieres them first.
Under contract to bring back the rest of them by Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon has the exclusivity rights to premiere all these guys first.
And he goes on to say different guys write different PPVS, which are the different studios. No one at Treyarch has had a single day off in a couple months, and they're working a ton of overtime.
So WWE has different guys write different pay-per-views to keep the pressure off, because there's one a month, and they let, like, there's 3 teams at work or whatever, so like, you know, they each get 3 months or whatever to work on their pay-per-view. The one that's getting ready to come out, the guys who've been working on it, they've been working their asses off. Like, they've worked around 2 months, I'd say, if not a little more, a little less, roundabout though, 2 months without a day off, like 7 days a week, and some of them are doing overtime like 5 nights a week. Like, it's insane.
Now he then goes on to say that the stable that led one of the shows was essentially Condrey and Schofield, and they were paid off to leave by Activision over one harassing a woman. Now when he is talking about this, obviously he's talking about different people, but this is what he is referring to, I believe. But he talks about a woman complaining on Instagram. Now what I believe he is referencing here is when Tina, who is an ex-employee who worked on such games as World War II, replied to one of Michael Condrey's tweets saying, "I'll never forget how you treated me," inferring that something bad happened in regards to them too. That's most likely why she left and went over to Respawn Studios. I don't know exactly what went on there, but I can only assume there might have been some sort of sexual harassment or something like that, and Activision paid off the 2 heads to essentially hide them under executive positions under Activision where they wouldn't be in the spotlight. Now the reason why this makes it obvious is because he goes on to talk about them not wanting to ruin the opportunity for other stars, which I believe are the other Sledgehammer Games employees, which are good at their jobs and had nothing to do with this altercation, but they had to get rid of the 2 heads because Michael Condrey, I believe, was not behaving himself.
The biggest thing I think I need to talk about is that there were these guys, right? I definitely cannot mention these guys by name because there would 100% be legal consequences if somebody straight up said this and accused them using their names, especially with the fact that they're trying to deal with it internally in corporate right now. But there were these guys, right? And they were a stable that was sort of ahead of one of the brands. They were the big guys in town or whatever, and it turned out that one of them had basically been harassing divas, like seriously harassing divas. But before then, he'd only kind of made people uncomfortable, done awkward shit, whatever, just been a weirdo, but never particularly done anything. But now we know that some corporate suits have basically paid them a bunch of money for a quote-unquote promotion to corporate. What it really was is to get them out and away from the other superstars, the people underneath them. And so they've got them in corporate right now because there was a girl who was on Instagram. She levied some comments against him. She didn't directly accuse of anything. She was just like, you know what you did, essentially. I think you could probably put the pieces together with that.
Now he then goes on to talk about Candy, but he says that these super sweet ones are not coming back.
So my girlfriend, she spent it wasn't last year, it was like year before last or so. It was a while ago, but she made some candy. She made it for about a year or whatever, and people really dug it. It was like a hard candy, like a rock candy that you suck on. The problem with it was there was a few flavors, but one flavor in particular that people really commented on. It was like this orange one, but people said it was too sweet, like it was just too sweet. Even though they didn't really like it, they felt this almost power from the sugar rush they would get from it, so they would have to keep eating it, and people would just get that one and consistently eat that one out of their packs of candy they got, because she would throw in like random ones in their packs, you know, because there was just so much.
What could this be in reference to? Well, obviously Gobblegums that we had within Black Ops 3 Zombies, which was such a crucial part of the game. Now, by him saying that the sweet ones are not coming back, I can only assume that he means the overpowered Gobblegums. I don't know what ones in specific, but I'd assume Gobblegums like PERKAHOLIC won't be back, and they'll just be keeping the ones in that aren't super overpowered, and probably have some new ones in there as well, because a lot of people have been complaining that Gobblegums have kind of made it too easy. Now, he then goes on to talk about Back to the Future 4. Now, I believe that this is him talking about Black Ops 4's campaign. Now, the plot that he talks about is describing an event in which time travel would be involved, which I did reference within my last video, because Matthew Harris received some legitimate information regarding time travel, but then he made up some entire bogus storyline for the cancelled Black Ops 3 campaign. Now, essentially, this plot was going to revolve around each mission being a backstory to a different specialist. Some specialists are going to be returning from Black Ops 3, but we are going to have a range of specialists from the past, the modern, the future, and each mission would be a backstory to each of the different specialists. So it wouldn't be like a regular campaign that we've seen before, and it would simply be a backstory to each one of these specialists, and each mission would be its sort of own unique thing. Now again, Black Ops 4's campaign was cancelled in January, and we still don't know if Black Ops 4 is 100% going to have no campaign for the release of the game on October the 12th. We will only know for sure by the time that May 17th comes around, which is when the Black Ops 4 reveal is coming into play. But I have been hearing some rumours, just take them as rumours, that Black Ops 4 may have a campaign, but that it was scrapped in January, but that Treyarch want to at least have some storyline by the time that the game comes out on October the 12th, and that they're cutting corners and they're cutting edges to rush out some sort of story mode. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the traditional campaign that we can expect, or whether it's going to be some sort of cooperative mode different to what we have seen before, that will have some sort of storyline, something similar to Spec Ops or something like that, or whether they'll cram the storyline within multiplayer or the Battle Royale mode. For example, if the original storyline for the campaign that was cancelled was regarding these specialist stories, where each mission were to be a backstory to each of the different specialists, then what they could do is they could implement that story within multiplayer, for example, or the Battle Royale mode. Again, they did have this plot for a storyline, so I don't know if they've completely cancelled it, or whether they're going to try and cram it in some way, shape or form into the game in some other way. We will only know for sure by the time that May 17th comes around, but as we were saying, I do know for sure that it was cancelled in January. Charlie Intel, Kotaku and Eurogamer have also verified with their inside sources that that was the case, but again, I do not know if they 100% are going to have no campaign whatsoever by the release of the game, or whether they're going to try and cram something like this in here. But this was the original storyline for the campaign. I don't know if they're going to still try and cram it in some way by the time the launch of the game comes, or whether they're just going to be solely focusing on multiplayer zombies and some other cooperative modes. Now, he then goes on to talk about Guardian.
I asked him today about the next World War II map, but he was just being a real guardian of this information, like he would not let me have it.
Now, I don't know what this is in reference to, but he talks about a World War II's DLC, so I can only assume that this reference to Guardian is something to do with World War II's DLC 3, which I don't know what exactly that will be, so only time will tell what exactly that is. You can let me know some suggestions down in the comment section down below what that may mean. And finally, he concludes the video with talking about 4 orange lines.
It's just that I see people making videos reacting to the reveal of the Black Ops 4 logo, the big 4 orange lines. People are looking at 2 of these lines right in the middle here, and they're arguing about what one line is. They think they know the other one, so they're arguing about line number 2, but they're not looking at the big picture. And the big picture is that there's 4 orange lines.
Now, what I believe this is in reference to is Black Ops 4 having 4 maps on disc, including Alcatraz, the Mob of the Dead remake, which is going to be the bonus map for Black Ops 4 Zombies, which is obvious that that will be coming at this current point in time. Obviously, we have 4 orange lines for the Black Ops 4 logo. We had 3 orange lines for the Black Ops 3 logo. They could have simply gone for the IV with Black Ops 4, and Black Ops 3 had 3 maps on disc. If you include the bonus map, The Giant, it had Shadows of Evil, The Giant, and Dead Ops Arcade 2. Now, in terms of what the maps are going to be for Black Ops 4 Zombies. There are going to be 4, and I know this seems outlandish, but I believe that that is what he is in reference to. Now, we know of a Mob of the Dead remake, so that is cut off. I talked about that within the last video, and a lot of people have speculated that we will be seeing a London map due to the Der Eisendrache Plunger cipher, where we send zombies back to the heart of London. Now, that is not confirmed, but that is a map that a lot of people think is going to be the map on disc for Black Ops 4 Zombies. I don't know if that is true or not, but we will also be getting 2 other maps as well, and I don't know if they're just going to be survival maps. So what Treyarch might do is just create a little survival map like we had Groston House within World War II Zombies, or they might cut up the maps into parts like we had with Transit. But either way, there are going to be 4 maps on disc for Black Ops 4 Zombies, and this is going to be huge. But again, I don't know exactly what those maps are going to be. We will have the main map and obviously the bonus map, and I'd assume 2 other survival maps that aren't going to have some sort of big quest, and they're just going to be a little cool survival map that new players can just hop into and aren't going to be too complicated like Shadows of Evil. So yeah, that's a ton of information. Again, these are all my own interpretations. I could be completely wrong here. This is me just interpreting his cryptic teasers within this video, and I know that it might be quite confusing to a lot of you. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Black Ops 4 Zombies news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.